Hello and welcome to another video for Midas Touch Toys, Games, Collectibles. And today, well, we're looking at something that is now quite old, has become quite collectible, and is becoming increasingly more difficult to find, especially in this near mint condition. We are looking at today the 1976 release by Ballantine Books from their Starsky and Hutch series of paperback books. Now, these paperback books were produced as a novelization of specific TV series episodes. So this particular one we're looking at today, Starsky and Hutch, which is #1 in the series, and this was the novel version of the pilot episode. Now, altogether, there was 8 books produced in this particular series, and they ran from 1976 through to 1979. Okay, this particular one we're looking at today is the very first of those novelizations, and this is the front cover of the book in front of us, and it says Ballantine Novel, and you've got the BB logo, and it's their number 25582. It says 2 tough streetwise cops with a knack for finding trouble and outsmarting it. Starsky and Hutch, now a new BBC TV series. A hair-trigger adventure created and written by William Blinn, adapted by Max Franklin. And there you can see an image of David Soul as Officer Ken Hutchinson and Paul Michael Glazzer there as Starsky. Okay, that's the front cover. Let's turn it over to the back and see what we got on the back. So on the back of the book, it says, crime takes a lot of punishment from Starsky and Hutch. Sawed-off shotguns at point-blank range can make one hell of a mess, but the goons who made the hit get more than they bargained for when Starsky and Hutch start scouring the skewers and salons of the big city for clues to a deadly crime, a crime that has the boys looking inside their own department for the right answers. And it says Starsky and Hutch, a Spelling Goldberg production starring David Soul and Paul Michael Glazzer, created and written by William Blinn, and this is copyright 1975, Spelling Goldberg Productions, all rights reserved. And this is a UK paperback, which was 60p cover price, and it was printed in the USA. Okay, that's the covers. Let's open it up and let's have a look at the contents. Okay, so I've opened the book up, and you just have to bear with me on this as well, because this book hasn't been opened before. It was an old book in a shop, been on the shelf for many years, and was never sold. There are some browning beginning to take place around the edges of the book, but because it hasn't been opened, the page just actually tries to close itself back up again. So we're going to just try and keep it open as possible, best we can. So it says, offbeat audience with a crime king. Hutch turned to the cedar bench facing the racketeer, spread his towel and sat down. Starsky spread his to his partner's left and sat also. Someone, Tallman said, who envies me is attempting to frame me with your murders. Starsky said, we haven't been murdered yet, so you're in the clear. I know, but they'll try again. Sometime today or tomorrow night, no later. If they kill you after that, I'll have no motive and they can't frame me. That's really what this is about. Starsky and Hutch, adapted by Max Franklin. TV's toughest twosome gang up on the underworld in a non-stop adventure novel. Now a new BBC TV series, Starsky and Hutch, starring David Soul and Paul Michael Glazzer, created by and written by William Blinn, a Spelling Goldberg production. Okay, and watch for the next adventures of Starsky and Hutch, Kill Huggy Bear, which will be #2, published by Ballantine Books. Starsky and Hutch, created and written by William Blinn, adapted by Max Franklin. Now a new BBC TV series starring David Soul and Paul Michael Glazzer, a Spelling Goldberg production, Ballantine Books, New York. They do make sure they get all the credits in there. And then it's copyright 1975, Spelling Goldberg production, all rights reserved under license. Liberty of Congress, catalogue card number, ISBN number, manufactured in the United States of America. First edition, February 76, second printing, June 76. First special print in March 76, second special print in June 76. So there we are. So this is obviously a second printing. And we've got chapter 1. And it says, as the bus hissed to a stop at 5th and Hill Street, the young man in patched Levi's, blue sports shirt and blue sneakers was the first one off. Swinging down to the sidewalk with athletic grace, he strode northward along Hill toward 4th Street on the opposite side of the street from the public library. Okay, that's the beginning of the book. Obviously, I'm not going to read it all, and there's obviously many chapters. I don't think there's any illustrations in this book. There's no illustrations, no. It's just the story of the pilot episode of Starsky and Hutch, and that runs for 186 pages. And then at the back, it's got also available from Ballantine Books. Wow, gang, the golden age of Mad is here again. The Mad Reader, Mad Strikes Back, Inside Mad, Utterly Mad, and The Brothers Mad. And great gifts from Ballantine Futura, Starfleet Technical Manual, fully illustrated, research compiled by Franks Joseph, including articles of Federation flags, seals and uniforms, navigation charts and equipment, Starfleet organisation, detailed schematics of Starfleet equipment, interstellar space warp technology and Federation codes, and you've got the official Star Trek blueprints, 12 authentic blueprints of the fabulous Starship Enterprise. From the bridge to Dr. McCoy's sick bay, from the crew's quarters to the shuttlecraft hangar, from the photon torpedo bank to the science labs of Mr. Spock, every foot of every level of the Enterprise laid out to scale in exact detail. Okay, there we have it. That is the Starsky and Hutch first novelisation from 1976. Okay, so now you're going to ask, well, how well did these books do back in 1976? Well, Starsky and Hutch TV series became massively popular. It shot from nowhere and became huge. It was absolutely massive. A very big series, and it ran for 5 years, from 75 through to 79 on the TV before the series was finished. And I understand it was finished because David Soul wanted to leave the series, as his music career had taken off massively and he was riding high in the charts with his songs. So I understand that's the reason why he wanted to leave the TV series. So I think that's why it did actually finally come to an end. But very popular. And obviously these books spin off from the TV series. Back in those days, in the 70s, there was no video recorders, no streaming, no internet, no DVDs or anything like that. The only time we got to see the TV programs was when they were being aired. So if you missed it, you then had to wait for them to be rerun or repeated on the TV, otherwise you've missed them. So when they weren't on air, how did we get to keep in touch with the program? Well, they released these novels all based on certain episodes of Starsky and Hutch, and say there was 8 in the series altogether. And so this one is concentrating on that pilot episode, or the very first episode of Starsky and Hutch to air. And it said the next one in the series was Kill Huggy Bear, so that's number 2, which comes, and so there was 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 and 8. A whole series of 8 books before they decided not to do any more. And I think that was because the series had come to an end at that time. So I imagine, I don't know the numbers of these were produced. I imagine they were mass produced, as most of the paperback books were back in the day. And we know from the inside the front cover that this was a second printing. So the first printing was done and dusted, sold out, and this was a second printing. So obviously the demand was there for a second run. Okay, let's move forward to 2025, which is where we are today. So we're moving forward, what is that, nearly 60 years? 75, 85, 95, 105, 50 years, 49 years. Do these books come up very often on the platform nowadays? Well, yes, occasionally, semi-regularly they appear on the platforms. You usually find people trying to sell a batch of them. So I did have a quick look on the platforms. There was a few people selling batches, the first 5 or 5 of the 8, not necessarily all run in order, but there are people trying to sell them in batches rather than individual books, and obviously all in various different states of condition. And as with anything you buy on the platforms, do be wary of the condition. Somebody's idea of very good condition could be somebody else's idea of acceptable condition. There's a big scope of difference there between people's opinions. So do be careful of that if you are intending to buy on a platform. And also remember, some of the platforms use stock images and stock descriptions. So what you think looking at and reading may not necessarily be the item you receive if you press the order button. If it says used, click the link and read what they are selling. Otherwise, you could be very disappointed, because if there's no new, they automatically go to used, and usually the cheapest used is the one that you'll be about to order. So read that and look at the images of those, because that's what you're going to get, because you won't be able to buy these new. So as I say, be careful if you order on a platform. Or alternatively, you can come to us at Midas Touch Toys, Games and Collectibles, where what you see in front of you is exactly the item you will receive should you wish to order. And this particular item is no different to that. And as of today, this particular item is available to purchase on the Midas Touch website, which you can get to very simply by clicking the link below. It will take you straight to the website where you'll be able to find this and many other vintage Starsky and Hutch items, and many other vintage toys, games and collectibles come to that. There's over 10,000 products currently available on the website for you to view and purchase at your leisure. And don't forget to hit the subscribe button, because we're uploading videos for every new item that goes into the website. There will be something for everybody, and I'm absolutely certain this is something that you're not going to want to miss, because we literally have thousands and thousands of new items which we're shooting videos for and uploading on a daily basis. So if there is something in particular you're looking for, something old that you've never been able to find, something quirky you might want to buy for a friend, or perhaps just something from your childhood that you'd like to own again to help you recuperate those long lost childhood memories. Well, stay tuned, keep watching, because you never know, the next item we upload could be that item you've been looking for. Okay, that is it for me on this particular item. I do hope you've enjoyed reviewing this wonderful, wonderful vintage Starsky and Hutch novelisation book with me. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you again next video. So bye for now.